Alrighty, so I wanted to give my thoughts on Dune Part 2. Probably won't be a long video. So I rewatched Dune 1 going in before watching Dune 2. And something I guess, realized is, because I watched Dune Part 1 once, and I knew nothing about the books, nothing. And so from a fresh eyes viewer, I was like, it's an interesting movie, but I felt slightly bored, I guess. Or maybe just like, it's cool, but I want more. And people, of course, be like, oh, you're brain rot, dude. No, I will watch slow-paced movies. I just want it to, I guess, have a little bit more. But in saying that, rewatching Dune Part 1, it goes by very, very quick. Up until about the third act, where it does slow down quite a bit. So it's almost, kind of breaking your expectation. But it's a lot more fun than I remember. And with Dune 2, so I do need to read the books. Forever ago, I read maybe like a chapter or two from Dune 1, like in high school for shits and giggles, and then was like, bleh. And so they have like the whole set on Amazon and like at Barnes and Noble for like $50. So I really just need to go get it. I have, kind of spoiled myself and done like a summary version that I've read on forums and stuff. So I have a much better idea of the universe and what they're trying to do. And with Dune 2, I loved it. It's something, and here's what's so strange, because people do say it's like Star Wars copied it, but I'm like, maybe certain aspects, but overall it feels nothing like Star Wars, to me at least. I was watching it and I kept thinking in my head, a lot of people like saying like, oh, well, George Lucas copied, Frank Herbert, whatever his name is, And I kept thinking, it doesn't feel the same at all, Dune feels so, I don't even know what the word is. I almost want to say reverse steampunk, where there's all this technology, but it's also very, very like low key and almost backwards. Like there's no robots. Is it like AI? Nothing. It's like there are people with certain abilities and things, but there's not like a Star Wars world or even Star Trek where there is like AI robots. There's no Borg, anything like that. But coming out of the first one, I kept going, okay, I do honestly want there to be a little bit more action, but I want to be a little bit just more of the story. The first one did, a lot of world building, which helped me understand a lot in the second movie. And there wasn't really one part where I was like, I don't understand, because I go, oh yeah, no, they talked about that in the first movie. So it helps that a lot of what happens in the second movie is already established, so they don't have to waste any time on it. Now, watching from the trailers, I thought Ratha, the nephew, Baron's nephew, was going to be in the movie more. I thought he was like the main villain. And so when the movie is, over an hour in, I was like, damn, what the, like, did they just like goof on me? Like, huh? And now it's, and I was like, whatever. And then they finally show him, Fade Rotha. I was like, oh, okay. So I guess we're close to the end. But then there's over an hour left of the movie. So I was like, man, the pacing's a little off in this movie, but it's breaking my expectation of how I think a beginning, middle, end act should go. And, first big chunk of the movie really is Paul Atreides, getting the trust of the Fremen and learning their ways, riding the sandworm, which is a badass scene. This movie, because from what I've gathered, a lot of people, what they say, what Dune is about is like not trusting charismatic leaders, or like how, charming leaders and stuff can lead, can corrupt people, all that. And this movie really hits you with it. It's not really subtle, and not that it has to be subtle. It is so obvious, It's using people's faith and beliefs, basically against them, to trick them into doing your bidding. And it's kind of, sad thing to see by the end, but it's both like a badass moment and a scary moment. But yeah, you get to see him, become a part of the Fremen, and the Fremen are like, oh my god, he's the Messiah, and then other people of the Fremen are like, nah, dude, like, he's just some guy. And so you get to see that kind of divide. You get to see what I feel like is more about like the mythology of Arrakis and how things work. I mean, you get to see a baby sandworm, so that's neat, and more about how their certain religious practices go, I suppose is what you could say. It's weird because it was a long movie, but I didn't feel like, oh my god, I'm bored, can we get to the end, please? No. I was like, holy shit, like, man, they're really just like letting us see everything, and they're just gonna keep going. All right. And the score is so good in this. I think it's Hans Zimmer. That dude, like, when people talk about like Troy Baker being like the all-time voice actor, dude, Hans Zimmer, can that dude ever make anything bad? Because that dude just hits the nail every time. The score in this movie was so hype that I feel like I was like getting like shivers, because I was like, god damn, the music just hits, and it's just so intense. There's a scene, I don't want to spoil it, but it's the scene is setting in. It's showing kind of like the dunes and stuff, and it's gonna show someone walking, and a couple other things happen. But the music, holy shit! And besides the music, the sound design, the sound is so, and I hate that. I couldn't even explain this to my wife. The best example I can is, so there's a scene where ornithopters are landing kind of in like a night desert storm, and just hearing the engines, I mean, just like rumbling, and while they're landing, and you hear like the hydraulics and everything. I was like, dude, the sound design in this movie is incredible. It's so amazing. I mean, just hearing like water drop, the sand, everything. I was like, this is just so well made. I'm just so happy. And like I said, I mean, and for someone who's not even read the book, I was like, I'm so invested, and I want to read the book. And there's a bunch of other people at my work where they're like, I want to read the book. I'm like, this is great. Look at, the movie is so good that people are like, I want to go buy the book and read it. And yeah, the sound design, the score, the visuals, like the CGI, the cinematography, everything to me was so well done. I sat there going, oh yeah. And I'm not saying I'm like obviously a cinematographer or anything, but I love, like, and people might goof, but like the Dutch angles and all that, like, I love just all these badass angles, and they do it often in this movie. They show in the trailer when Paul is walking up the cliff, and it's slowly showing that, and you can start hearing people already before you see the people, going, oh my god, woo! And then it cuts to like an above shot of all these people. I mean, like, he truly is the Messiah. I was like, oh, this is so dope. It's just so good. And that was entertaining. By the end, man, there's a scene towards the end. I guess two scenes. The council scene, and then the very like ending portion. Just top tier acting. Like, I always kept saying Timothée Chalamet has like a punchable face, and I was like, I just don't like him, like the way he looks. But I think that's just like me being a dumbass, because I never really watched anything with him. I was like, I don't really know, but he's just got this smug face. But man, holy shit, is he a good actor? My god, like, homie. I mean, I felt the frightness. Like, I enjoyed his acting thoroughly. What's her name? Zendaya. I don't even know what her full name is, but is that her real name? But her acting wasn't too bad. There were parts where I'm like, I just feel like you're acting like MJ from Spider-Man. Like you're kind of just doing the pouty bratty face the whole time. And it was kind of weird how throughout the movie, you know, it just kept the back and forth of like, I don't like that people keep thinking you're the Messiah, and he's like, I'm not, you know, trust me, I'm not the Messiah. But then he's also like, hey, you know, I am having these visions, and she's like, it's just the spy. And he's like, nah, I think it's something more. And it just kind of felt like it was the same conversation over and over again. I guess in the book, Chani is more like accepting of what he does at the end with a certain someone, but in the movie 100% not. I think both can work either way. I'm trying to think, because I don't want to really spoil anything, but there's definitely, you know, some plot twists, some things you find out. The sandworms are badass as always, but I think that's about it. I mean, seriously, go watch it. People just kept saying it's boring and stuff. I was like, dude, I was just so invested. I love the world. It's just this strange sci-fi world. Honestly, it kind of reminds me of Alien. You know? There's an aspect with Alien where I'm like, it feels both futuristic and old. And I like that vibe. A lot of people, you know, are like, oh, well, it's not the book. Blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, guess what? It's a movie, not the book. Is it basing, you know, is it a retelling of the book? Yes, but it doesn't have to be beat for beat. I've had the conversation before because people got pissed off at Rings of Power, and I'm like, I mean, I guess you could make it beat for beat the book, but also guess what? In Lord of the Rings, there's no fucking page that says, and Legolas surfboarded down the stairs of Helm's Deep while shooting orcs and badass music plays. Like, let's be real here. Like, as much as I love Lord of the Rings, it's like, okay, so people will give those movies a pass, but they won't give it, like, everything else, people are always like, won't give a pass on. I'm like, and from what my friends told me, and from what I've seen online, Dune, the guy who directed the new Dune movies, did a pretty good job, from what it looks like, making it seem like the book. So, people are always going to complain about something, you know? I mean, I'm always going to complain about something too, but in my recent years, I've tried to be more, like, open-minded, like, this is an adaptation, this is not just the book, you know, and so, let's try to give it a chance here, please. So, that's just my thoughts on Dune 2. I guess that's going to be it for this video. As always, I appreciate everyone watching, and I'm out.